Howdy y'all, thank you for joining me today for this playthrough of the X-23 Marvel Champions card game hero pack. This is going to be a solo playthrough where I use just the deck that's straight from here. All I did was sleeve it up, and we're going to see how it fares against Juggernaut. Another little side tangent, I showed this in the Deadpool video. These are not for Marvel Champions, but I figured they're either testing it out to see if they want to do it or not, but I thought it was kind of cool. You might look into it. They're called the Investigator deck boxes for Arkham Horror Investigators. But as you can see here, it does, I mean, this is freshly sleeved, so these sleeves are still a little puffy, but you can kind of see there's still room in here. And it's got a little divider and everything. Plus you can carry your Nemesis plus your obligation card here. And just kind of put them in there. So I thought these were just kind of slick and neat. I mean, someone like me, I have to carry all my whole collection around anyways, because we typically play with my villains and stuff. And I'm sure if these sell successfully for Arkham Horror, they've got something probably planned for Marvel Champions. But just thought this might be something. They come in different colors, like this one's a silver, and there's one for each of the Arkham Horror colors. I think it's blue, purple, orange, green, and red. And then, of course, this. But with that, let's get on with X-23 here, Laura Kinney. And one other thing I'll talk about real fast. People are probably tired of seeing them, but I just think they're neat. So I want people to be able to go check out your local game store, your LGS, and get them. But there are these, I was trying to find the open one. There are these little promo packs you can go get from your LGS that came out with the Deadpool and X-23 decks. If your LGS doesn't know about them, have them ask Asmodee about them. But you can get these organized play kits, and they come. The little pack comes with 3 character cards from the Next Evolution story block, and these are some of the ones that I have that other people who pre-ordered, because we give one for each pre-order. And then every time we demo it or play it at the shop, we give out one of these packs. They actually had them originally in the previous one with the X-Men, but this is the one that I opened for myself for Deadpool, so these are mine, whereas the others were... Oh, no, and these were the ones I opened in the Deadpool video. If you want to go check that out, I just did the solo playthrough of it. So we have the alternate art of Psylocke there. And there's usually a full comic book art and an alternate art. We just got the regular, just the comic book art for X-23 here, which I will sleeve that up and play with it in this one. And then we have, you know, Strife here. But, okay, let me go ahead and sleeve that up while I'm talking. So I won't go too much into this. This is going to be, I have a lot of videos where I go through a more deeper teach. I will go through just the stuff kind of as if this is the first video that someone found because they like X-23 and this was what would bring them to the character or to the game. But I'm not going to go into a deep one unless it's a new rule that I feel like you need to hear just so you understand what's going on. But other than that, it's going to be kind of glossed over. Just swapping those out. Oh, and I guess I can show you the Deadpool one, which goes to the other person. It's theirs, but I played with it in the Deadpool one. Alright, so, yep, here we go. We're going to do X-23, and we're going to go against the Juggernaut. I'm going to be shuffling up the villain deck as I talk about this, but yep, with Juggernaut, we just went with Juggernaut. The Hope Summers is shuffled in here. We'll get the Hope Summers into play for us. We have the standard encounter set, and the modular set I used was Black Tom Cassidy. It says, for the setup, attach Juggernaut's helmet. Did that. Put Hope Summers into play under our control. We'll do that here in a second. And then flip this over, and this is our main scheme we're going to have to be trying to do, which was interesting with Deadpool. But let's see how Laura Kinney does here, X-23. Alright, also when we put Juggernaut into play, he gets +1 attack for each momentum counter here, so he's at 3 attack right now. And then when revealed, place 1 momentum counter here. Well, actually, this wasn't here yet. Sorry. Because of this, now he's at 3 attack because it places 1 momentum counter here. And then give Juggernaut a tough status card, which tough status card is just the next time this character would take any amount of damage, discard this card instead. So, and I didn't show it, but Juggernaut gets 18 hit points per player. So here's my tough status card. He's got his 18 hit points. Also, the main scheme here gets 1 threat starting on here per player to the 7 to pulling this off or completing that scheme. Actually, as I was shuffling this, I don't remember if I did not. So we have X-23's Arch Nemesis we'll put to the side, but we got to go put Self-Isolation into the deck. We'll talk a little bit more while I'm shuffling this up, but and also I'm going to probably edit because I want to give this a good shuffle. I usually give them at least a 100 card shuffle. Instead, I just sleeved it up. But we do get Hope Summers into play here. Also, an interesting thing I noticed, and I think it's because people called out Fantasy Flight on Wolverine, so I think we saw the change here. But she does like Wolverine where she puts claws into play. Well, with Wolverine, it said it had to be from your deck or discard pile and put it into play. Well, that left the confusion of, well, then I don't want to mulligan, because if I mulligan and accidentally draw Wolverine's claws, I could never put them into play. But looks like they heard that and fixed it, because this one just says, as set up, put X-23's claws into play. Which makes me think that this is that they kind of are going more with the permanent rule of, like it is with Arkham Horror or with Vision and some of the other characters that have permanent forms and stuff, that this is supposed to be off to the side. It doesn't count as part of your deck, and then you put it into play. It's weird that Wolverine did it the way it is, but I guess I can see some interesting things where it's stuck in your hand, and it's just you don't have the claws. But man, that'd be a rough play. Well, I don't know if it'd be a rough play with Wolverine. I mean, how many times in the comics did something happen with Wolverine to where he couldn't use his claws for whatever reason? But either way, I get it. I would probably, and because it brings up the confusion of, is this considered part of my deck for deck limits? That's a hard call there. They're going to have to answer that eventually, and they may have by now, and I just haven't really searched that deep for it. If y'all did find something, put it down in the comments. That'd be great for me. I like learning in the game without having to search around on the internet too much. Because I also like trying to avoid what combos people are doing. But as far as I don't deck build online, I like to try to toolbox and build my own stuff and see what I can come up with. But either way, that's enough talk. I've been shuffling this the whole time. So that should be more than enough shuffles for the villain encounter deck. And we'll call it there. Alright, so yeah. And then normally if this doesn't count as part of the deck, I'd put it in a different colored sleeve. But alright, so let's shuffle this. I'm just going to edit so y'all don't have to watch me shuffle bajillion times. Alright, I'm going to continue to shuffle here, but we'll talk about a few things. So first things first. So, if this is your first time, yes. What we're going to do is we're going to play this against Juggernaut. It is solo. So, we got the solo, or the first player marker, which is this, and it's just going to be in play here for me. And we start on our alter ego side. Also, it said put Hope Summers into play. So the way this normally works is we're going to be trying to knock out Juggernaut. We have to knock him out through 2 of his stages, which he's in stage 1 right now. And then when we knock him out, he'll go to his stage 2, and we knock him out there. We win. We lose if Juggernaut pulls off, well, if a villain normally pulls off their main scheme. In this case, Juggernaut has a main scheme where it's going to kind of go into just, it doesn't really lose us the game if he pulls off the main scheme, but it can, because the other way we lose is if the villain knocks out all the players. in this case, his main scheme is just going to kind of build up until it just keeps hitting us until we get knocked out. So he doesn't win by pulling off the main scheme like a lot of villains do, but his main scheme is just going to make it easier for him to pull off the other part. So long story short, we got to knock him out twice before Juggernaut knocks out all the other players, which we're playing solo. So he just got to knock us out. Now we also get Hope Summers into play, and what Hope Summers does is she's going to get attack and thwart equal to what our attack and thwart is. So like we would have to be over in our hero form, and then she would have the same attack and thwart that we do, which would be 2 and 1. She also doesn't count against our ally limit, because normally you're only allowed to have 3 allies into play, but she doesn't count towards it, so we still have 3 more other allies into play. And she introduces a new way for us to lose the game, which is if Hope Summers gets knocked out, we lose the game. And she's got 3 hit points, so we're hoping she doesn't get knocked out. And with that, we should have more than enough shuffles here. So once we do a few here on camera, the rest of the setup was put the X-23's claws into play. Now let's cut it here and put our deck down. And now we draw up to our hand size of 6. We already have our 10 hit points, so draw our hand size of 6. Alright, and now we can take a mulligan. And a mulligan is we can discard any number of these cards we want to, and then draw back up to our hand size of 6 at the very beginning of the game. I'm going to go ahead and discard these 2 cards. So now we draw 2 more to replace those. Alright, so we start out in the hero phase. Hero phase is each player taking their turn. And some of the stuff we can do is, first thing's the easiest thing is, we can do actions that are on our cards. We have actions here, but this one I have to be in hero form in order to do, because it says hero action. And I'm not in hero form, I'm in alter ego form. We do have an action here that says that I can shuffle either Honey Badger Ally or the Sisterly Bond event from my discard pile into my deck to draw a card. The problem is I do not have any of those cards in my discard, so I cannot trigger that. So I just wanted to talk about that action because that sounds like a great one, but which would be cool for the mulligan, because if you think about it, if you drew one of those for your mulligan, you could discard it to draw another card. Of course, you wouldn't want to, I would think, with Honey Badger, because a lot of this deck feels like it works with Honey Badger. But you could discard it to basically draw an extra card, and then basically now shuffle it back in so you could draw an extra card. So either way, long talk about nothing. One of the other things you can do on your turn is once per turn, you can switch to your, for free, you can switch from alter ego to hero, or from hero to alter ego form. And what if you'll notice, and you probably already saw, is it changes your stats and gives you a new ability, which now I have a living weapon ability that says, as a response, after X-23 takes any amount of damage, I get to ready X-23. So pretty cool, because that means, like, most of the time when you take damage, it's going to be during the villain phase. And you're going to see you can defend, basically. And that basically makes it to where, oh, I take damage, but from the defense, which means now I can ready and still attack. But you'll see all that, I'm sure. But pretty cool. Alright. So now we're in hero form. One of the first actions we're going to do is going to be actually this one that is given to us through Juggernaut's helmet here. It says as a hero, because right now Juggernaut has Stalwart and Overkill. Overkill means that when Juggernaut attacks me, if I defend with my ally, any excess damage that would carry over, more than enough knock out that ally, would carry over into my hero. And Stalwart means he cannot be stunned or confused. So there's a reason I want to get rid of that. So we're going to do this hero action here that says I can spend 3 resources of the same type to remove each momentum counter from Juggernaut, and then flip this card. And the way you spend resources in this game is you discard cards And at the bottom of every card, they have a number of resources. So like in the case of this resource card here, it's worth more than one resource. So it says spend 3 resources of the same type. I'm spending 3 energy resources here, 1 from this card and 2 from this resource card. So there's my 3 resources of the same type. So it told me I get to remove each momentum counter from here, from Juggernaut, and then flip this card. So now, it's Juggernaut takes an additional damage from each card with a printed mental resource. And as a forced response, when he schemes, I get to place a momentum. I have to place a momentum counter on Juggernaut here and then flip this card, which will put him back over on the other side here. But I mainly just wanted to get rid of that stalwart and overkill and the additional damage, because now remember that each momentum counter was giving him +1 damage. Okay, another thing you can do on your turn is you can exhaust your character to do one of their basic actions here. I can, if I want, exhaust X-23 here to thwart a scheme, which means I would thwart and remove a number of threat equal to this number from a scheme. So I could come over here and notice there's 1 threat on this scheme. So I could thwart and remove up to 2 threat from this scheme. Or I can exhaust her to attack a bad guy for this much damage. Or if I have an attack coming in on me, I can exhaust X-23 to reduce the damage coming in by this number. And if I was in alter ego form, I could exhaust and recover this amount of damage up to my max hit points if I wanted to. In this case, I'm going to exhaust X-23 and attack Juggernaut for 1 damage. Which, remember, he's got toughness, so that means instead of taking any amount of damage, it removes this toughness from there. We're going to bring this upgrade into play. It costs 1 in order to do that. So I told you about spending resources. We're spending this 1 then to bring endurance into play, which goes under any player, play under any player's control, max 1 per player. I get +3 hit points. And since I just improved my max, I gain those hit points immediately. So, well, I had other reasons why I was also getting rid of the helmet, and that's because of Hope Summers here. So I'm going to attack with Hope Summers. She gets my attack, which would be 1. But remember, Hope Summers' attack is equal to whatever my attack is. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of time and do some things to beef up my attack. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and activate this hero action to exhaust X-23's claws and take 2 damage, and I get +2 attack until the end of the round. So take 2 damage. So now my attack is 3 until the end of the round. The end of the round is my turn and the villain's turn. My phase and the villain phase, and then that's the end of the round. So I'm doing, now when I attack with Hope Summers, I'm attacking for 3 damage. Juggernaut has this thing that says Juggernaut takes an additional damage from each card with a printed mental resource. Hope Summers has a printed mental resource, so she's going to do an additional damage. So that means she's doing the 1 + 2, 3 + 1. She's doing 4 damage to Juggernaut. Now all the heroes have taken their turn, we go to the end of the hero phase, which is I can discard any number of cards from my hand if I want to. I'm keeping both of these. So I have 2 cards in hand. Now I draw up to my hand sides, which remember was 6, but now it is 5. So I get to draw 3 new cards in the hand. And then after I draw, I ready and unexhaust all the cards in my play area. Next we go to the villain phase, which starts out with the acceleration phase, which is accelerate the scheme by this much per player, so 1 + 1 per player, so it adds 1 threat on there per player. So 1, since we're solo. It needs 7. It's got 2 to the 7. Next, the villain is going to activate against each player according to what form that player is in. So, for instance, when it activates against a player, if the player is in alter ego form, then Juggernaut here would scheme and add more threat to this scheme, to the main scheme. Or if I'm in hero form, then it will attack, of course, doing damage to me. I am in hero form, so Juggernaut is going to attack. I have my ability here that says after I take any amount of damage, I get to ready her. So I'm going to assume that since he's doing at least 2 damage, that if he gets any, because he's going to get a boost card that's going to give him some pluses, that he's going to damage me. So I'll be able to ready. So I'm going to go ahead and defend. And I have to choose before I see what the damage is. So I'm defending. Now remember, I could defend with Hope Summers, but if she gets knocked out, I lose the game. So we're not doing that. So I'm defending with X-23 there. I'm going to be able to reduce the damage by 2. So Juggernaut is doing 2 attack. He gets Delta boost card to the boost cards. He didn't have any, so this is the only one he gets. And then now he gets 2 plus, we're looking down, oh, getting on camera there. We're looking down at the bottom here. And for every one of those symbols, he gets a +1 the damage. So, or if he was scheming, he would get to add that much more threat to his stat. So, at this case, he's doing 2. He gets +1 attack per momentum. He has no momentum, so 2 plus 2, he's doing 4 damage. I defended for 2, so 4 minus 2, I take 2 damage. And after X-23 takes any amount of damage, ready X-23, limit once per phase. So hence, if he does something that does damage to me again, or someone does, or somehow I take damage during this villain phase, I would not be able to ready again. Now, if there were any minions that were engaged with me, they would also do the same thing. There's no minions engaged with me, so we go to the encounter step. The encounter step is each player is dealt 1 encounter card. And then they have to deal with all the encounter cards in their encounter pile. So in this case, we do care about the rest of the card, and we're going to read over it. It says Assault, Treachery. When revealed, if I'm in alter ego form, this card gains Surge. When revealed, if I'm in hero form, the villain attacks you. So Surge would mean, if I was in alter ego form, we would have to deal with another card from the top of the encounter deck. Instead, we are in hero form, so the villain is going to attack me again. Now remember, I could defend and reduce it by 2, but then I'd be exhausted and would not be able to attack or thwart during my next turn because of I've already done that limit once per phase. And remember, you don't ready or unexhaust your characters unless something lets you, in the case like her card, you don't get to ready until the end of your hero phase. So in this case, I'm not going to defend. I'm just going to take the damage. So Juggernaut is doing 2. Gets another boost card because anytime the villain activates or attacks against you, they get to do this. So he gets 2, 3, 4 damage again. I did not defend, so I got to take the 4 damage, putting me at 5. And after we're done with the encounter step, we go to the last part of the villain phase, is to pass the first player marker to the next player to the left. In this case, we're solo, so we keep that. And that's the end of a round. So now we're just going to go back and forth until we either knock out Juggernaut twice, or he knocks us out, or Hope Summers out. So let's go back to the beginning of my hero phase. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to play this Regenerative Longevity. It costs 1. There's my 1. It says, as an action event, which means just a one-time, heal a total of 4 damage from your identity and Honey Badger. So I'm going to heal 4 damage. I know I went the opposite way, but going back to 9. I'm going to play Claw Mastery here. Cost 1. Since we already have one of these in play, we can't have another one, so there's the 1. Hero action. Until the end of the round, X-23 gets +2 attack. And since I don't have Honey Badger, the rest of this card don't matter. So she has a 3 attack right now. I'm going to go ahead and activate my claws to take 2 damage. But now I have another +2, so I have a 5 attack right now. And I'm going to go ahead and attack Juggernaut for 5 damage. Taking him to 9. And then now I'm going to attack with Hope Summers. And remember, she gets my attack, so she has 5. Plus, she's got this mental resource printed on her, so she does an additional 1. So she's doing 6 damage to Juggernaut because his helm is exposed. Taking him to 3. And she don't have any consequence stars, so I take no consequence damage. I did not mention that with the allies, but I just reached over to grab a random ally. So if you're new to the game, just a quick thing. I know if you aren't, you're bored. But normally the allies can just do the same thing we can do with the attack and the thwart with our identity. But they have these little consequence stars, which means if they do it, they have to take damage. Hope Summers does not have that in this case. And of course, they don't have defense. They just, if they defend, they just have to take it in the face and survive. But they can defend for you. But so in this case, she didn't take any consequence damage. With that, I'm going to go to the end of my turn. So first step is to discard any cards on my hand. I'm going to discard this card. So I have no cards in hand. I get draw up to my hand size of 5. 1, 2. Well, I have to draw up to my hand size of 5. And then ready all my cards. Ready and unexhaust them all. We go back to the top and accelerate the scheme for 1. Next, I'm in hero form, so Juggernaut will be attacking me. And I use this for this phase, so I will go ahead and defend. So Juggernaut is doing 2. If I can grab cards there. +2. This is a great one for the boost. So he's doing 4 damage again. He likes doing that 4 damage. 4 minus 2 because I defended. Takes me down to 5. And because I took damage, I get to ready her. Next, the encounter phase. So, oh my goodness, seriously? I really do hate this card for Juggernaut, but I guess they kind of have to, otherwise you kind of just get some easy stuff on you here. But if Juggernaut exposes in play, flip it and place 1 momentum counter on Juggernaut. I'm not in expert mode, so yep, if Juggernaut exposes in play, which it is, flip it and place 1 momentum counter on Juggernaut. The rest don't matter because this was in play, so flip it. So he's got Stalwart and Overkill again. He has a momentum counter, so his attack is equal to 3. But now we go back to the beginning of my turn again. And I'm an idiot. I see a misplay I definitely did on the first turn. Yeah, I didn't notice her thing says that after she takes any amount of damage. So that means when you activate her claws, you get to ready her. Of course, you got to take the extra damage. But yep, that was, I mean, it ain't a huge misplay, but that's pretty good. Because I was looking at it, man, there's something I wanted to do this turn, but I didn't want to take any chances. Well, we're going to do it. So here we go. First thing we're going to do, we're going to bring out Richter here. He costs 3. 3. And that brings out an ally. Like I said earlier, you get an ally limit of 3. Hope Summers doesn't count towards that. So I have only 1 ally in play at the moment. I'm going to have X-23. I had something else planned, but we're just going to go ahead and do this anyways. I'm going to have her thwart for 2 on the main scheme. So she comes over here and thwarts 2 off the main scheme. I'm going to activate her claws and take 2 damage to give her +2 attack. which is going to ready her once per phase. So she has 3 attack right now. So I'm going to have Hope Summers go ahead and attack for 3 damage, which is enough to knock out the Juggernaut out of his phase 1. So now we go to his phase 2, which says, same thing, gets +1 attack per gem, so now he's a 3, +1, 4. And then when revealed, place 1 momentum counter here. If Juggernaut exposes in play, flip it. It is not. Otherwise, give Juggernaut a tough status card. So now he's got another momentum counter here. And because Juggernaut exposed was not in play, I'll just notice that's a period. So I don't know what the otherwise is. I'm assuming, because it says place, sorry, I guess I could show you zoomed in. It's saying place 1 momentum counter here, period. All right, so that would say put a play counter there. If Juggernaut exposes in play, flip it. Period. It's not, so don't flip it. Otherwise, give Juggernaut a tough status card. So in my opinion, it's just saying if that's not flipped, or if that's not on, if it's on the other side, then flip, then he gets a tough status card. But I don't know if that means ignore the place 1 momentum counter here too. I'm going to say it's just the first one. So, because like I said, I always play with the tougher if I have any confusions. So he's going to get it, well, first off, he's going to get his 21 hit points per player. And I mean, I can look that up and edit out, but I'm just going to, I don't want this to be super long, so I'm just going to continue on that and give him a tough status, and he has an extra momentum counter. I don't know why I didn't notice that before until now. Hope Summers does not have consequence stars, so she don't take any. Richter does decide he wants to attack. He's going to attack for 2, which is going to be enough to get rid of the tough status. But he does have a consequence star, so he's going to take 1 damage for doing that. Now, he has a response also when he attacks. As his response, it says that after Richter attacks, discard the top card of your deck, deal 1 damage to each minion engaged with you for each resource on the discarded card. Here's the thing. I have no minions in play, and this is not a forced response, so that means since it's not a forced response, I do not have to do it. I'm going to choose not to do it because there's no reason to discard cards because it's not going to do anything. So he's just going to do the 2 damage to Juggernaut. I'm going to switch to Alter Ego form, and I'm going to take this opportunity to recover 6 hit points. Taking her to 9. And I don't think I discarded the cards they were talking about. Sorry, I was just checking. I knew I didn't discard Honey Badger, but I didn't know what Sisterly Love did. So, or whatever it's called. Or Sisterly Bond, sorry. Well, with that, I'm going to go to the end of my turn. I am going to keep this. I think it'll be a great card for later. So, I got 1 card in hand. I draw up to my hand size of 6. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To show 6 cards in hand. And ready all my stuff. Accelerate the scheme for 1 per player. Next, I'm in Alter Ego form. So Juggernaut's going to scheme for 1. And he still gets the boost because he's activating. 2, plus this thing activates, which is give Juggernaut a tough status card. So first that happens first, so he's going to get another tough status card. So Richter took the damage for nothing. And then, because you can only have 1 tough status unless it says otherwise. And then he's now scheming for the 1 plus the 1 counter, the thing there. So he's scheming for 2, adding 2. And now we have to go to the encounter phase. Our step, which says, when revealed, each copy of Creeping Willow attacks the player is engaged with. I don't have any engaged with me. If you were not attacked this way, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Creeping Willow and reveal it. I don't think we've seen one yet. We have not. So I have to go into the deck and get a copy of Creeping Willow. Oh, there's one right on bottom. So I'm not, well, I'll give it a few shuffles anyways, but... Alright. So we got Creeping Willow here. 0 scheme, 1 attack. So what a minion does, a minion comes in and they engage with you, and they're in kind of like your threat area, and you have to kind of like deal with them. In this case, I'm playing solo, so I just put all the bad guy stuff up here. It's got a 0 scheme, 1 attack with a forced response, and we'll see that here in a second, with 3 hit points. It has guard, which means I cannot attack or do anything to Juggernaut or attack Juggernaut until this is taken care of. It has quick strike, which would mean if I was in hero form, it would attack. Well, it means it attacks as soon as it comes out. Problem is, I am not in hero form, so it does not attack. And then forced response is when it attacks, after Creeping Willow attacks and damages a character, they have to stun that character. Well, it didn't attack me, so we don't have to deal with that. But we're going to have to deal with that plus the toughness. So it's just going to... Looks like Hope Summers and people are going to have to get busy here. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to switch to my hero form. And I could have done this even in my regular form, but I'm going to have Richter go ahead and attack the Creeping Willow for 2 damage. So it does 2 damage. As a response, after Richter attacks, discard the top card of my deck. I deal 1 damage to each minion engaged with me. Remember that Creeping Willow is engaged with me. For each resource on that discarded card. So, discard, it's got 1 resource. So it does 1 damage to each minion engaged with me, which is enough to knock out the Creeping Willow. But Richter attacked, so he has to take a consequence damage. I'm going to activate my claws. So I take 2 damage to get +1 attack. Really doesn't matter because what I'm about to do is just going to get absorbed by the toughness, but I'm going to go ahead and attack with X-23. Oh, that's why I was doing it. Hold on. Let's just do that in reverse order. I was like, why don't I just do it now? That's why I was holding out. Let's do this the right way. I'm at 9. Let's just attack with X-23 for 1 damage to Juggernaut. He's got toughness, so the 1 damage gets rid of the toughness. Now I will activate X-23's claws to take 2 damage to give myself +1 attack, which is, since I took damage, or +2 attack, and now that I took damage, that readies me once per phase. And it don't really matter which order I do these in, but first things first, I'm going to pay the 3 of the same resources for this hero action on Juggernaut, which exposes his helmet. I don't know why I waste actions doing this, because he just draws that card that flips it back over again, but we're doing it anyways. Now that I have the +3 attack, I'm going to attack Juggernaut for the 3, taking him to 18. And now I'm going to have Hope Summers attack for, remember I have 3 attack, plus I exposed his helmet, so she gets +1 because she has a mental printed, so he takes 4 damage from this attack. I want to play Pain Tolerance. It costs 2. There's my 2. And what Pain Tolerance is, it's an upgrade that says, as a response, after I play an X-23 card, so an X-23 card, including this one, heal 1 damage from my identity, barely felt a thing. So oh, I'm still exhausted. I can't do that. But that still heals me for 1, because it said including that card. Also, I've now attacked Juggernaut twice, so that card I had last time says attached to an enemy that X-23 or Honey Badger attacked this turn. I did attack him this turn twice. Attach him, he's going to get -1 attack. And then forced response that after the player phase begins, I discard this and deal 3 damage to the attached enemy. So after they go through the villain phase, I'm going to attach it to Juggernaut, of course. So after I go through the villain phase, he's going to take 3 damage. Or once the villain, after I go through the villain phase and the hero phase starts. Blah, get that out. That is a X-23 card. Says every time I play an X-23 card, heal my identity for 1. And with that, I have no cards in hand, no other actions I want to do. So we're going to ready. Or nope. We're going to draw up to our hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's that sisterly bond that we can shuffle back in. Oh, we need Honey Badger for that. So ready all of our stuff. Richter is almost dead here. Accelerate the scheme for 1. I am in hero form, so Juggernaut is going to activate and attack me. I will defend. So he's at 3 minus 1 attack, so 2 attack. Plus his card. Plus 3, so 5 attack. I defended for 2, so 5 minus 2, I take 3 damage. Since I took damage, I get to ready. Next, we go to the encounter phase. It is, when revealed, breakthrough. When revealed, choose, take damage equal to Juggernaut's attack, or I have to discard the highest cost upgrade or support I control. Which would be my pain tolerance. Or I have to take equal to his attack, which his attack is -1, so I just have to take another 2 damage. I think I'll do that one, because pain tolerance should bring that back a little bit. So I take, what it says is, take damage equal to Juggernaut's attack. His attack is 3, but right now, this is -1, so his attack is actually only 2. I actually got to take only 2 damage. But that was the encounter step. We're back to the beginning of my turn. I want to bring out Sisterhood. So I'm going to discard 2 cards to do that. Brings out Sisterhood. It is a support action. I can exhaust Sisterhood and discard an X-23 card from my hand to search my deck and discard pile for Honey Badger and add it to my hand. I mean, I don't think I'm going to have enough resources to actually bring out Honey Badger. Oh, I almost forgot. I mean, let's just go back to it real fast. But beginning of the hero phase, discard this card and deal 3 damage to an attached enemy. So, or to the attached enemy. So he takes his 3 damage. I mean, either way, we brought that out because of my pain tolerance. I get to heal for 1. I'm going to bring out Adamantium Lacing here. I'm going to discard this Sisterly Bond for a resource. So there we go. Adamantium Lacing. I get +2 hit points. My attacks gain Retaliate, which means anytime I'm attacked, if I survive the attack, I retaliate for 1 damage. And her basic attacks, so my basic attacks, gain Piercing, which means we already talked about, I think, no, I don't think I have. If I didn't, Piercing just says it removes the toughness first, then does the damage. So yeah, man, I got a ton of upgrades on her here. But the other main thing is this is another X-23 card, so it's not only going to give her 2 more hit points, which I'm going to get right now, but it's also going to give her another one because of pain tolerance. So basically getting 3 hit points altogether right now. I'm going to go ahead and thwart for 2 from the main scheme. Because we may get to it, but because what this ends up doing, it flips that, which I think is going to happen soon anyways. It adds a momentum counter, and then it also makes him attack me whether I'm an alter ego form or not. So I could get multiple attacks on 1 turn. So we're going to go ahead and just thwart for 2 there. we're going to have Laura Kinney take 2 damage to give her +2 attack. But that readies her. We're going to have Hope attack for 1, 2, 3. Plus she's got the printed mental resource, so 4 damage from 1 attack. Taking him to 7. We're going to go ahead and have Richter attack for 2. No minions, so I'm not going to do his response, but he has to take his last consequence damage, so he's out. I'm going to take a chance. I was going to go in alter ego form and do a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and attack him for another 3. And with that, no cards in hand, no other actions I want to do. So, draw up to my hand size of 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, made a mess of my discard here. Ready all my cards. Accelerate the scheme for 1. Alright, I'm in hero form, so he's attacking me. I will defend. He is doing 3 plus 0, so he's doing 3 damage. Minus 2 because of my defense. So I take 1. I took 1 damage. That lets me ready. But also I have retaliate 1, so I do 1 damage back to him. And now we go to his encounter phase, or step. And when revealed alter ego, take 2 indirect damage. When revealed hero, Juggernaut attacks the ally with the fewest remaining hit point. Ooh, I could lose right here. Yeah, he's attacking my ally, and the only ally I have is Hope Summers. Well, he's attacking my ally. I can still defend for her, so I'm going to defend for her because he does a minimum 3 damage, which is enough to knock her out, which makes me lose the game. So we will be defending for Hope Summers. He's doing 3, 4, and I have to take 1 indirect damage. I'll throw the 1 indirect damage on Hope Summers. But then he does 3, 4 damage to me. I defended, so 4 minus 2, I take 2 damage. I had retaliate 1. That's enough to knock him out. So actually, yep, we just knocked him out there. All in all, yeah. Even for an aggression deck, which if you've watched my videos, you know I do not play aggression. This seemed pretty good. And even if I wouldn't have knocked him out to retaliate, now Hope does. I just do 2 damage to myself. Hope does 4 damage to him again. Yeah, I like playing this deck. What did Honey Badger do? Because I could have went and got her. So she's a 2-cost ally. 1 thwart, 1 attack, 1 consequence star each, 2 hit points. After Honey Badger takes any amount of damage, ready X-23. So it says any amount of damage, so that means you attack with her for 1, she takes a consequence damage, you get the ready X-23. So like, man, activate your claw, attack with her, activate your claws, ready her, attack with her for 3 again. Attack with Honey Badger. She takes a damage. Readies Laura. Yeah. I can see some silly stuff, especially if you play those ones that give her more pluses to damage. I like it. I like it a lot. And I didn't get to even mess with the specializations. That was the main thing I was looking forward to. But cool. No, that was cool. I mean, that's... Because I always say, which one did I enjoy more when they release the same ones? Did I enjoy playing Laura, X-23, or did I enjoy playing Deadpool? I mean, this just feels biased. I like the X-23 character. I am not a fan of the Deadpool character. But even this was just more fun to me. Now, it was fun to tool with a new aspect and see how it goes. But, yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. I'm cool with it. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes there. We'll see. I'll go back and in the edit. I think there was one I may have made. I'll see in the edit. But, yeah, that was cool. I had fun doing that. And I definitely want to build with X-23. I want to see what I can do with her. At first I was a little worried. I was like, man, I don't know. She doesn't regenerate, so Juggernaut's going to be able to do all this damage to her. But she had a lot of ways of getting hit points back, and that's what I liked. That was, and without having to really go, I mean, I did once go in alter ego form, but no, I enjoyed playing her, for sure. Alright, well, cool. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I know, I don't normally say those and those, and it's annoying, but subscribe. Leave a like. I like the comments, guys. I really do. Any comments you have, I'm always open to them. Other than that, thank you for watching, and have a great day.